G'day YouTube, Quaker John here. Today I have Alan with me to discuss the best way of lifting the Vulcan S in order to do maintenance on the bike. Alan is a subscriber of the channel, a regular on live stream, and a regular in the chat videos on my channel. Thanks for joining me, Alan.
Thank you, John, for inviting me. Good day, everybody.
So, Alan, why is a motorcycle hydraulic hoist lift not suitable for the Vulcan S?
Well, as you found out, and as I found out, there is no frame underneath the Vulcan S to lift onto. You need to have some points of lifting, and the Vulcan S doesn't have that. The engine is part of the frame, and if you think of a bicycle where you have a head stem where your steering is, and then you have down underneath where your pedal system is, there's a piece that comes across, and then another lower part of the frame, and that's what gives you the structural rigidity on a bicycle. Motorcycles used to be that way. The Kawasaki Vulcan S does not have that. The engine is part of the frame, if you will. It adds rigidity. There's less flex points, but there's no lift points. There's just nothing there. And the Kawasaki Vulcan S does not have a center stand, only the side stands. So in the old days, motorcycles had the center stands. You could easily pick the bike up, work on your rear tire, that kind of thing. The Vulcan S does not have that. So there's just no way to lift it from underneath. It's all engine. You risk damaging the engine if you do that.
Yeah, under the bike, like you say, there's no frame to support the hydraulic lift, but and support the bike on it. But underneath the motor, there's the oil pan and the oil filter. Are there any other sensitive parts of the bike underneath it that would be damaged?
Yeah, there is. Well, obviously, the oil filter is straight up on the front end. Then there's it's probably, I don't know, 4 inches by 4 inches oil pan. That's all cast aluminum. So there's that. And then there's the shifting mechanism. It hangs a little low. And then on the other side, there's the muffler system. So you've got multiple places where you can bend or damage something. Not that, you couldn't repair it possibly, but or make repairs, but it's just not what you want to do. There's just no place to lift, not safely.
Yeah, I bought a hydraulic lift and then returned it, as you know, Alan, got a full refund. I didn't realise that the Vulcan S would be damaged by it, and it's 500 pounds that sits on the hydraulic lift, and there's no real flat surface under the bike except for the oil pan, but 500 pounds it would damage it.
Yeah, you worry about bending stuff or cracking things. I actually went to the Kawasaki dealer here locally and asked them how they would lift a Vulcan S, and what Vulcan S, if you go to the Kawasaki people, there is a quote hydraulic screw jack lift thing that they sell. It's like $350, very expensive, but it lifts right up underneath the front radiator core support. There's 2 little pins. It goes up underneath there, and that's where you lift the front tire. That's all it lifts is the front tire. It does nothing more than that. And the dealer would actually lift with a paddock stand on the back, on the spools, on the swing arm. That's how they lift it for the rear tire. So you're kind of, you don't have a lot of options with the Vulcan S as far as lifting. You're going to have to come up with some of your own unique ways.
So what would you say is the best way of securing the Vulcan S so that you can do maintenance work on it?
Well, and as you got a video out and pointed out, what I found worked really well for me, the paddock stand, operating that, you can do it by yourself. You position it underneath the spool pieces. You kind of get the bike centered, but my arms were just not long enough to hang onto the handlebar, get the paddock stand, get where it wants to go, and then push down on it to do it. Obviously it's a two-person. It makes it a lot safer to do it with two people. A one-person lift is really hard. So I looked around for something that would secure the front end while I lifted the rear end for maintenance on the chain and adjustment and that thing. And what I found was a wheel chock. There's multiple different ways and manufacturers of those, but as you found, the wheel chock, you roll the bike up onto that, it locks that front wheel in place, and now the bike is very secure. It's not going to fall over or any of that. And then putting the paddock stand underneath to lift the rear wheel up for maintenance, chain adjustment, whatever, that becomes very easy for one person. Very easy for one person. So, and what I also found was the particular wheel chock that I purchased would slide on the concrete. So what I did is I anchored it to a piece of 4x8 sheet of plywood up on the front end. And so as I rolled the motorcycle up onto the plywood, that holds everything in place. The front wheel just rolls up into the wheel chock. The bike's stable and secure. And the other benefit is that it actually gets the tires off of the concrete. It puts it on wood, and the wood itself supports the paddock. So, and as you know, we've talked about this before. I actually wrote and emailed Dunlop with their recommendations on storage of motorcycles. I live here in Michigan. The unfortunate part for us is about November to about May, for about 5-6 months, you're not riding. It's cold, it's snowy, it's icy, it's just not good conditions. And I had read that a lot of blogs and forums and stuff that putting or leaving your motorcycle tires on cold concrete was not a good storage option. And I texted and emailed Dunlop, and their response was pretty much along those lines. They basically made 3 observations. Number one, if you're going to store your motorcycle for any length of time, keep it away from sunlight. The UV rays of the sun will crack and destroy your motorcycle tires, number one. Number two, keep it away from wet ground, moisture, that kind of stuff. A lot of people park it on dirt and grass and stuff. That's not real good for the tires either. And number 3, the other point was at ambient temperatures. Now, they didn't get specific, but I think anything below about 15 C, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, you run the risk on cold concrete of flat spotting the tires. Now, obviously, motorcycle tires are a little softer than car tires by design because you want that grip. And most motorcycles are now positioned on their side stands, so you've got the bike leaned over. And there have been people who have written that their tires and motorcycle tires have flat spotted. So Dunlop's other recommendation is that you roll the tires around a little bit, move them, don't leave them there for an extended period of time. Again, they didn't give definitions on extended period of time, but I would suggest or assume that that's more than a couple of weeks. If you're going to put your bike up and you're going to leave it there for several months, leaving it on a side stand on cold concrete and not rolling around probably won't be good for your tires. It'll flat spot them and do some other things. So one of the things you do is you insulate the tires from the cold concrete with wood, or potentially there's other insulators, foam mats and other things. But I chose plastic. But I chose the plywood just because it's easy here in the States. I mounted my front chock to it. I roll the bike up on that, and I'm not going to have any worries from the winter storage that it's going to go through here in about a month. I've only got maybe another 4 or 5 weeks max before the bike's basically going to be in storage and unrideable as far as the weather conditions, road conditions, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it was you, Alan, that put me onto the front wheel chock, and using the front wheel chock and the paddock stand on the rear tyre, you can easily lift the bike. As you said, I've shown in a video, and do maintenance work or lube the chain. And one thing I didn't say in the video is this is an ideal way of doing it if you're just one person. And
Yep.
I was trying to work out for weeks how I could lift the bike with the paddock stand because I was afraid of dropping it. But when you showed me the front wheel chock, that's perfect.
Yep. And I, not to be disparaging or anything, but I'm an older guy. I'm 67. I'll be 68 here in a few months. So, if you're a young whippersnapper, 30 years old, muscular, you can handle, you can deadlift 500 pounds. It may not be an issue for you. But it is. Now, the other thing is that if you're a lady, you weigh 120 pounds, trying to get that bike on a paddock stand could potentially be an issue. Or if you're in a confined space, that also could be an issue. So the wheel chock supporting that front wheel makes it all the easiest to do any kind of maintenance or put the paddock underneath it. It just, I put it on there even when I've done modifications or I'm just going to take the seat off or other, the gas tank, whatever. I always put it up on that front wheel chock just because the bike's very, very secure. It's like a center stand, but only for the front wheel. So.
Well, thank you, Alan, for your comments. I was keen to have a chat with you on video about it since you put me onto it. And I'd like to thank Alan for joining me for this chat. And I'm sure that what he said has been a real help to a lot of people. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoy my videos, subscribe to the channel. Live stream is on every Wednesday night at 10 PM Brisbane, Australia time. You're most welcome to join in. You are most welcome to join the Quacker John chat room, and the link for your invitation to join the Quacker John chat room is in the comments under the video. See ya!